Good day everyone. Today I will be discussing all about subtracting 3-digit numbers with regrouping. So this video is intended also for grade 3 students for them to master the concept about subtracting with regrouping. But before that, let's try to identify the terms or the different terms in subtraction. I have the number here, 371 minus 259, and that is 112. The number here, 371, is what we call the minuend. The number here, 259, is what we call the subtrahend. And whatever the answer, this 112, the answer in subtraction, is what we call the difference. Why is it very important for you to identify the terms? Because if somebody would ask, what is the difference of 10 and 9? Automatically, you understand that we are talking about subtraction because you are asked to get the difference. Okay? Now, let's try to solve a problem. In this problem, we need, I want all the young kids to listen carefully. Young kids, I want all the kids to listen carefully. Okay? We have here 371 minus 259. But before that, I want all the students to understand the concept, so we will use the help of this expanded form. Okay, always remember, it is very important for the students to identify the place value of each number. In these numbers here, 1 and 9, the place value is the ones. I know that you memorized that already. And the numbers 7 and 5, their place value is tens. And here, the numbers 3 and 2, the place value is hundreds. Okay, so I hope you still memorize the terms in the place value. Okay, ones, tens, and hundreds. Now, if teacher Brian is going to expand this number here, that will be 300 plus, if you have 7 tens, that is 70, 7 tens. And 1 ones, that is 1. Okay, if you're going to add 300 plus 70 plus 1, that is 371. Now, how about 259? 200. Okay, that's it, 200. Then it has 5 tens. When we say 5 tens, that is 50. And this one, 9 ones or 9. Now, let's try to subtract these numbers according to their place value. What I mean, we need to align them properly. Ones, tens, and hundreds. Now, if you are going to subtract 1 minus 9, it is not possible for you to subtract because 1 is lesser than 9. Since it is not possible for you to subtract, that's the time you will borrow. Okay, you will borrow or you will regroup the numbers. Okay, borrow and regroup, they are just the same. Borrow means you ask. Regroup means you need to group it again. Okay, since 1 minus 9, it's not possible, so you need to borrow 10. When you borrow 10 from here, okay, we will get 10 from here. If you get 10 from 70, it will become 60. And the borrow 10 will be added here. So if you have another 10 here, if you will have additional 10 here, it becomes 11. Okay, 10 plus 1, 11. So we can subtract now. So 11 minus 9, that gives you 2. Okay, now 60 minus 50, that gives you what? 60 minus 50, that gives you 10. Okay, that's good. And here, 300 minus 200, that gives you 100. So you can add this one now. 100 plus 10 plus 2, the answer is 112. Okay, so meaning to say 371 minus 259, the answer is 112. Now let's try to do the shortcut. Okay, I will erase this first. I know you memorized this already. The ones, the tens, and the hundreds. Okay, now let's do the shortcut. I want all the students to listen carefully so that you will know how to do the shortcut. Okay, so 1 minus 9, it is not possible because, again, 1 is lesser than 9. So since it is not possible, you will borrow 10 from here. If you will borrow 10 from here, so you will just subtract, shortcut way, you will just subtract 1 from 7. It becomes 6. And since you borrow 10 from here, and you need to add 10 here in 1, so that 1 will become 11. Okay, so 11 minus 9, that is 2. 6 minus 5, that will be 1. 3 minus 2, that is 1. So therefore, 371 minus 259 is 112. The same here. Okay, so that's it. Now let's try to strengthen now by giving another example. So I want all the students to familiarize the expanded form. These are the numbers in the ones place. These are the 2 and 5 are the numbers in the tens place, and 5 and 2 are the numbers in the hundreds place. Okay, let's try what if this will be the problem. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's try to expand. 500 plus 20 plus 9. Okay, how about here? We have 200 plus 50 plus 7. Okay, take note, we will do the expanded form first. So 9, let's have the ones place first. 9 minus 7, of course it's possible, and the answer is 2. It's possible because 9 is greater than 7, so you can subtract. But here, 20 minus 50, it is not possible for you to subtract because 20 is lesser than 50. So what will you do is to borrow number here. Since this is in the hundreds place, you will borrow 100. Since you will get 100 from here, this becomes 400. And you have 100 additional here because you borrow 100 from 500. So this 20 plus 100, it becomes 120. Okay, now let's have 120 minus 50. Oh, you will do 50. Let's try 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, you do the skip counting. So 120 minus 50, and that gives you 70. Okay, and here 400 minus 200, of course that gives you 200. Now if you are going to add 200 plus 70 plus 2, the answer is 272. Meaning to say, that's 7. Meaning to say, 529 minus 257, the answer is 272. Now let's do the shortcut. Okay, I want everyone to remember the shortcut. Now, ones place, tens place, hundreds place. Okay, let's start with the ones place. 9 minus 7, of course, the answer is 2. Make sure to align the numbers properly. 2 minus 5, it's not possible because 2 is lesser than 5. So we need to borrow. Since this is shortcut, we always borrow 10 for shortcut. So since this is 2, you need to borrow 10 from 5. So this 5, if you will borrow 10, you will just subtract 1 to that number, from that number. So this becomes 4. Since you borrow 10, this 2 becomes 12. Now, 12 minus 5, that gives you 7. And 4 minus 2, that gives you 2. So therefore, the answer is 272. The same here. Okay? That's good. The difference is 272. Now let's make it quite challenging. Okay, we have 343 and minus 278. What's the difference? Okay, let's try to expand. Okay, 300 plus 40 plus 3. In here, we have 200 plus 70 plus 8. Okay, 300 plus 40 plus 3 is 343. 200 plus 70 plus 8, 278. So let's subtract. Okay. So 3 minus 8, it's not possible because 3 is lesser than 8. So 3 will borrow 10 from 40. Since you will borrow 10 from 40, it will become 30. And the 10 will be added here. So this becomes 13. Okay, let's subtract now. 13 minus 8, that gives you 5. Okay. But now, 30 minus 70, that's not possible also because 30 is lesser than 70. So 30 will borrow 100 from 300. Since you will borrow 100 from here, this becomes 200. And 30, because you give 100 and you will add 100, so 30 plus 100, it becomes 130. Okay. Oh, be careful with my penmanship. Okay, that's 130. Okay, 130 minus 70, of course, the answer there is 60. Okay, that's good. Now, here, let's try. 200 minus 200. So the answer is 0. So it's alright to not to write because the answer is 0. Okay, we'll just write 0. 0. Okay. So 0 plus 60 plus 5. The answer is 65. Okay, so therefore, 343 minus 278, that gives us 65. Let's try if we have the same answer in the shortcut method. Let's have this one. 3 minus 8 cannot be because 3 is lesser than 8 or less than 8. So 3 will borrow 10 from 4. In shortcut, if you will borrow 10, you will just subtract 1 from this number. So from 4 minus 1, it becomes 3. Now, since you borrow 10 from here, so you will add 10 here in 3. So 10 plus 3, this becomes 13. Now, 13 minus 8, that is 5. Now, 3 minus 7, that is not possible because 3 is less than 7. So this 3 will borrow 10 from 3. Since you'll borrow 10, as I said, if it's shortcut, you will just deduct 1 from 3. So that becomes 2. Then since you borrow 10 from here, this 3 becomes 13. Okay. So 13 minus 7, that gives you 6. And 2 minus 2, of course, that's 0. So no need for you to write 0. So the answer here is 65. The same with this one. Okay? Now let's have the last example. 500 minus 265. So we will just expand first. 500. The tens here is 0, so we'll just write 0. The ones here is 0, you will just write 0. So 500 plus 0 is 500. Now let's have this one, 265. So we need to expand the number. So this is 200. Okay, that's good. And this is 60. And the number in the ones place is 5. So therefore, when you add 200 plus 60 plus 5, that gives you 265. Now let's try to subtract the numbers. Okay, in this example, you will subtract 0 minus 5. But 0 is less than 5, so you need to borrow a number because it's not possible for you to subtract. If you are going to borrow a number from 0, there 0 has no value, so you are not allowed to borrow from 0. Since this is 0, this one should borrow 100 from 500. So this 0 here will borrow 100 from 500, so this 500 becomes 400. And then, since you borrow 100 from 500, this 0 here becomes 100. And that's the time the 0 here can borrow 10 from here. If you are going to borrow 10 from here, this 100 becomes 90. And this 0 becomes 10. So therefore, we can subtract now. Let's do it. 10 minus 5, that gives you 5. 90 minus 60, that gives you 30. 400 minus 200, that gives you 200. So therefore, if you are going to add now 200 plus 30 plus 5, the answer would be 235. So therefore, 500 minus 265, the answer is 235. Now let's do the shortcut. 0 minus 5, it's not possible. So this 0 must borrow 10 from here. But since this is 0 and has no value at all, this 0 must borrow 5 from here. Must borrow 10 from here. So since we will borrow 10 from here, in shortcut, you will just minus 1 here. And this becomes 4. Since you borrow 10 from 5, this 0 becomes 10. And that's the time this 0 here can borrow 10 from here. So this will become 10. And this 10, in shortcut, he will just subtract 1 and that becomes 9. Okay, so you can subtract now. 10 minus 5, that gives us 5. 9 minus 6, that gives us 3. And 4 minus 2, that gives us 2. And the answer is 235, or the difference is 235. And that's it. So I hope all the students out there, you were able to understand the concept of subtracting 3-digit numbers with regrouping. So thank you for listening and have a nice day, everyone.